Hello everyone. This is the Scorpio. Oh, just kidding. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and do Scorpio. Oh, this is the Scorpio January 2020 reading from me. If you guys have never attended one of my readings before, used to I was just doing collective readings, and I really wanted to kind of like go more specific with different zodiac signs, but in my own way. So my name's April Kamara. If we've never met before, I'm a life coach and a medium. One of the things that I've really been wanting to do is like get more active on YouTube, and I just love watching like the different zodiac tarot readers, but I'm not actually a tarot reader myself. However, I do have a deck that I like extremely vibe with, so that's what we're going to be using today. So the way this reading is going to go, this is going to be like your theme, right? So I'll pull a tarot card for your theme. These are the only tarot cards I've ever been able to connect with, so I don't connect with them using traditional tarot techniques. For me, I use the imagery because the imagery really speaks to me, and just channel messages from spirit through that, the images that I see and what comes to mind. So I'm very heavily using like my claircognizance and sometimes clairaudience, my empathic abilities, all those things. But for this one, so we'll have a theme, and then I'm going to pull you an archetype card from the Wild Unknown archetype, and then possibly either a card from either the spell deck or a yogic path. So it just really kind of depends on like where the vibe goes. I like both of them equally, but I think to have both would kind of be like overkill, so I like to just kind of choose one. And I think so far only one sign has like really needed a yogic path. Everyone else has gotten like a card from the spell deck. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I like to do before my readings is just ask you to like kind of take a second to center with me. Put your hand over your heart, both hands if you want to. I guess that's what I decided to do. And just take a deep breath with me. And just set the intention that you'll take whatever resonates, leave behind the rest, and just allow this message to really kind of help ground you into the energy and into your highest version of yourself for this month. So this is good for you if you're a Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising sign. Either way, like whatever resonates with you. I also really kind of like to tell people too, like if you're more of like a tarot reader than I am, and you see the card and you resonate with the card in a different way, and that makes more sense than you, then by all means take that message. Like I'm really open, and like honestly I believe that spirit speaks to us in so many different ways, and I'd much rather you trust yourself than to like just take something that I say and run with it if it doesn't resonate with you, right? And you'll know if it resonates with you because it'll give you that like head to toe kind of like tingly sensation, right? It's not just like a mental, oh yeah, that makes sense. No, it's like when you resonate with something, it's a full body experience. So that's what I'm definitely here for, right? That's why I'm making these videos, is so that you guys can have something to like really help ground you and like resonate with you and hold through this time, because everyone's talking about how 2020 is really going to be a crazy year, right? It's the start of a new decade for us, so there's going to be a lot of shifts, a lot of things going on, and I just really wanted to be here to like connect with more people on YouTube, and then to also kind of like be that like grounding force that can kind of like bring through these like higher messages and what can be a kind of tumultuous time. So Spirit, what is the theme for Scorpio Sun Moon Rising January 2020? I'm Scorpio rising, by the way, so I'm super excited about this reading. Let's see. Interesting. This is like the first card that comes out, and I really just like to get one card too, because like I said, I'm not a traditional tarot reader, so if more than one card flips over, I usually just like go with my intuition on which one, and it seems to be resonating the most. And so this one's the Knight of Swords, right? So it says the Lord of the Wind and Breezes. And it's so, these Knight cards, I don't know if you can see it from this far, but it's black and white, so it may be kind of hard for you to see. But these Knight cards, just always kind of have like this feeling of like, like forging a path is kind of what's coming to mind. And for the Scorpio sun, moon, rising in January, it seems like there's this, because Scorpio is such an emotional sign, right? And like when our emotions come into play, and then our thoughts become these like, either the guiding force or like the wrecking ball that keeps the emotion continually going, right? I see us like having this like really grand opportunity to choose, either consciously or unconsciously this month, are we going to like ground ourselves? Are we going to center ourselves? And are we going to actually like start taking charge of our thoughts to help us kind of like catalyze our emotions? And the way I kind of see it is almost like, because this guy, he's standing, like his horse is like looking down, and it says the wind and breeze, but it almost like has this watery vibe to it still, like even though it's not a water card, like it's definitely an air card, like he has wings behind his back. And I love how the wings on this card are actually the same as my tattoo wings. So like, can we just talk about how cool that is? I have like wings on both sides. I got them when I was 16. But to me, what this is saying is like he's really kind of like surveying the area. Like sometimes the night cards to me can seem like there's like this like intense need to prove, but this one is almost like he's looking a little warily. Like there's almost this like fear that I'm getting from this card of like, and he's wary of facing his fears. So like being a Scorpio rising, I can totally relate to this like wariness of like, oh my god, am I gonna go there, right? Because like, as Scorpios, like when you go there, sometimes you go there with complete blinders on, and you just like plummet through, and you can get to like a really deep dark place really fast, right? So there's this wariness with this knight here, and he's kind of looking like, okay, do I want to do this? Like, can I do this? Is this something that is like, is this something that's actually going to be beneficial for me? Because as a Scorpio, there's like really this like fixation that we can get into. And this is kind of like showing that there's like a hesitation this month to possibly like do the work that's going to be required, because when you have such an emotional sign and it's so much water, and not even just that water, but like that ice, right? Like I think of Scorpio as like either deep water or like the iceberg, right? Like there's like you think you're going one direction, and it's like you're looking at the tip of the iceberg, and then you realize that everything underneath is so much more vast, right? So it's kind of like what's coming to me right now is like needing to really like plan. And the funny thing is like before I came out here, and like spirits kind of like reminded me of this, is like I saw this like hawk flying over like where I was going to be recording my video. And I always love seeing the hawk, because the hawk represents this like ability to observe, right? And I truly think that that's what this Knight of Swords is doing, is he's almost just like where most night cards are kind of like charging into something, he's almost like, no, I need to observe, right? And there's this a little bit of hesitation, right? But at the same time, there's the ability to do that, right? Like think about it as a knight, like it requires training. And a lot of the times, like we've gone so long without, training ourselves to pay attention to what our thoughts are actually like creating in our lives, because there's this hesitation to actually, take responsibility for like the heavy emotions that we can have as like Scorpio sun, moon, rising. So this is really just a time of like what I would say of like gentle observation. Anytime that you find yourself in a hesitant place to observe, take the anxiety and like ground and center yourself, and choose to look with an open heart. Really truthfully, like anxiety only comes when we're looking at things strictly from the neck up, right? And what this is requiring is, it's like requiring even the horse is looking down right now, right? So it really does require us to like kind of bring our bring our intention into being gentle observers this month, thinking about something like the hawk, like really connecting with that spirit animal this month, because I truly think that was a message for all of us, sun, moon, and rising Scorpios. And I actually have a friend who's like a sun, moon, and rising Scorpio, so I hope she really gets to watch this and gets a kick that I like called her out, because when I found that out, I was like, oh my god, you were like the most intense person I know. Like, that's so crazy. I've never met anyone with like all three of the same sign. I even like got her to go on like an astrology page where they like do the astrology of the face on Facebook. So you just put a picture of yourself and like people try to guess what your signs are. And everyone was guessing like, all three different signs each time, and like getting really upset at her because they're like, we've chosen like almost every option there is. And she's like, well, no, you haven't, because if you did, like you would know that like I was a Scorpio sun, moon, and rising. And so finally when she said that, someone was like, wait, are you like all three Scorpio? And she was like, yes. And I saw the message a little bit after, and I was like, that must be like my Scorpio rising, like sending you to the wolves, like knowing that was going to be a really intense situation, and just sitting in the background like laughing about it. Like we were messaging each other, we were like, why are people getting so upset about this? Like this is just like a game kind of thing, right? So with this card, we're really asked right now to take that gentle observer, right? Really connect with the hawk energy, right? Looking at things from a perspective of above. And as a Scorpio, it can be a little bit difficult to like really kind of when you get in those deeper emotions, to rise above it. So I think that's why like the hawk symbolism is like so important, because I truly believe that animals are direct archetype embodiments that we can bring into our consciousness to help us in situations like this. And what better of a like example of an archetype to take than a hawk to really help you to kind of elevate yourself when emotions can just run high, like emotions just do run high sometimes. Like that's just life, right? But as a Scorpio, it can be very difficult to stay in observation mode during that time. So this is your theme, right? So theme this month, gentle observer. And also, like, truthfully, another thing that's coming through right now too is with this power of gentle observing and like this practice, right? Like it feels like this is the month for the Scorpios to really put themselves on a regimen, like where they're practicing thinking in a new way, thinking about things in a new way. And truthfully, I say just trust your heart with whatever comes to mind. That I'm like, the first thing that comes to mind as I'm telling you about this, like the first issue, trigger, situation, whatever that just came to your mind, ask yourself like every day for a week or something, like, how can I like view this in a different way? How can I think about this with a higher perspective? How can I really kind of like take a step back from the situations? Because our emotions have a way of like magnetizing us to things, right? And with being the gentle observer, right, when our emotions magnetize us so closely to an issue, it can be kind of like we can't see the forest from the trees, right? So just asking yourself simply, like, how can I look at this from a higher perspective, and visualizing yourself like with a hawk or a hawk next to you, bring that like hawk energy into your heart, whatever. Take some time to like take a few breaths, and then just let whatever comes to you come to you. And even if whatever comes to you is to go do something different, know that you're going to do something different with the purpose and intention of bringing a new energy into that situation, and just allow yourself to think about it at a different time. Hopefully everyone really enjoys, or like everyone who watches this really enjoys the way that I do tarot. Oh my god, the butterfly, did you guys see that? So pretty. It was such a little butterfly. I've been getting little butterflies everywhere. Dude, I'm gonna have to quit like putting these cards in here because I keep leaving cards out of the deck. I don't think it mattered for this one, but that's like the second time that happened. This little hermetic tarot, like the tarot cards that I use that I absolutely love, they're amazing, but like I need a new container for them. Like this container is like so like falling apart right now because I use them so much. Okay, so now that we have that, the Knight of Swords, now that we have that theme, right, to be the gentle observer, and to when in hesitation, to simply observe with no expectation. I feel like that rhymed. Now I'm going to get into the archetype that's going to help you unlock the secrets of this theme, right? So I got these cards yesterday because I started the videos yesterday. I'm a little late. I'm a little late when it comes to this, but I think it'll be okay. But I got these yesterday because something in me was like really stirring to want to bring back and like really ground for myself archetypes. And I'm such a big believer in like, you know, working on something for myself, but then at the same time, like bringing that knowledge and like awareness to others, because, oh my God, I love this. I'm so happy this card fell out for us because, what was I saying? Because you pick up so much more, I think, like as an intuitive when you're reading for other people. And no matter when you're reading for someone else or not, there's always like a nugget of truth or wisdom that comes with that message that you can always apply to your life in some way. And I think that's the beauty of being an intuitive, and why like I really focused on helping so many people kind of like claim that like birthright of theirs when I first started my business and first found out that I was a medium, was because I was like, this is so cool. Like you can help yourself. And as a Scorpio rising, especially as a Scorpio rising, with how secretive we are, with how much stuff that we keep in, to know that like that depth that we hold actually like brings forth so much valuable intuition. It's like, it's a good thing for us that we keep all that stuff in, because those are truths that like we get to carve out ourselves, that we get to really apply ourselves, right? So if you're Scorpio rising and like you don't feel intuitive, we need to talk, because trust me, you are. Like you are super powerfully intuitive. And if you haven't tuned into that, that's okay. You're probably just not aware of it, because we're in such a like society that does everything except honor and value the intuition, right? So we have to do that for ourselves. But the archetype card that I just drew, I'm going to put this down here so it doesn't get so hot. The archetype card that I just drew is the Mountain. I don't know if you can see this, but this card is life to me right now, because I actually had, when I was like living in a different state, I'm in Florida right now. When I was in California, I had this like really intense meditation one time, where I had like a spirit guide come to me from like the Mayan times, like a past life that I'd lived. And he was this like medicine man, and he was just standing in front of me, and he was like, you are the mountain, you know, like, and I had this like really, I was going through a really, really difficult time. And it was just something that like I think the words that he used were like, you know, people may try to come and claim you, but no one can ever own you. Like you are the mountain, right? Like you are the base, you are the peak, you are in the mountain. And this, if you can see, there's a person standing inside this like glowing place of the mountain. And I 1001% believe that like everything in our physical reality holds like a spiritual truth, holds spiritual wisdom. Like this grass right now is like buzzing with spiritual information. That's why I love doing these readings outside. Like the sky is like a vast place where like you can look up into the clouds and like receive messages from the clouds, right? Like the sun is like like all these things. Like I've had conversations with all these things, the grass, the sun, the sky, the clouds, all these things. Like there's a wealth of knowledge always around us. And to be the mountain, to have this archetype come up, it's so synonymous with that iceberg like with the iceberg like representation, except for like, you know, an iceberg, most of it is sunken under, like submerged underwater. Well, think about like how long it took for a mountain to form, you know, and like how sturdy a mountain is. These colors of green and purple and pink above it really too just like seeing this like grounded heart chakra energy, right? Like how many people like go and try to climb a mountain just to get to the top so that they can have that point of view, right? So, and this is so synonymous with everything that we've been talking about, right? Like the hawk, right? Like taking that bird's eye perspective so that you can have the wisdom of the mountain, right? Because I don't remember which video I was like made this like comment in the last time, but if you guys watch Netflix, like The Witcher, right? Like I was like in love with how that Netflix series like talked about like, you know, these people who are so chaotic, right? Like who had these like really seemingly like crappy lives were like so powerful, right? But they had to learn how to harness that power. Like they had to learn how to direct that power and how to hone that power. And they really make a good, like, they really show you how that's like a lifelong journey. You know what I mean? Like, and there are peaks and valleys in that journey, right? Like, we're never going to like completely be at the top of the mountain and stop growing, right? Like, is the mountain continually growing? I don't know, maybe at a really slow rate. I'm not super sure. But what I can tell you is that like that mountain holds so much wisdom, right? There's the trees that are growing on that mountain that are like part of its ecosystem. There's, you know, the rock that the mountain forged when it came out of the ground. There's like honestly like the creator of the mountain, and like truly what I see and hear, the person sitting inside is like the creator of that mountain. You know what I mean? Like they are the essence, they are the truth of that mountain. So we need to really value what we observe this month as Scorpio Sun Moon Rising. We need to really write that shit down, you know, honor what comes up. Use every single thing, no matter how chaotic, no matter how crazy, no matter how whatever, like messed up, fucked up, whatever comes up. We need to like value that, you know, like see the value in it. Like if you can't see value for a situation, have compassion either for yourself or others like involved in the situation, you know? What is this like trying to teach me? Like what weakness is this trying to strengthen, right? Like if you are the mountain, right? If you are the mountain, then you're being forged in a grand way. Like this archetype does not just fall out for anyone, right? And we know just how magnetic we are as Scorpios, and sometimes that can really scare us. You know, we can really hide from that and hide from people for that reason. But everything that comes up this month is of value. Everything that comes up this month is part of our ascent to the peak of our own mountain. And in this time, in this like wheel of life that we're on right now. So what mountain are you climbing, you know? What is being forged within you this month? I'm going to look up the mountain and see what its higher and lower aspects are. I love these cards so much. I channel so much when I see these cards. 129. The mountain. So the light aspects of the mountain, or like the higher aspects of the mountain, is being grounded in the eternal, being uplifting and steadfast. When you're in the darker, less lower vibrations, I guess I could say, of the mountain, you're ominous, daunting, isolating, and frigid. I mean, honestly, if this isn't more of a Scorpio, like ascended version of a Scorpio versus like a descended version, like I don't know what else is. Like frigid, 1001%, I can be frigid, you know, like it's so true. So, okay, what do we need this month for all this? I'm gonna go with the yogic path. Like, I think this requires some spiritual insight, you know? Like, sometimes the spell one, like, I like the spell one, but I feel like we would probably get another animal with the spell deck. Like, the spell deck has different animals, and I feel like there's a spiritual practice that's more like a yogic spiritual practice that's going to come through for this one. Scorpio, January 2020. What yogic path do we need to ground in with our theme of gentle observation and the mountain archetype? I love how this like card honestly just jumped, so I'm going to use this card. Oh, okay. This is like actually an upside down card. I'm surprised. Let's see. I can't pronounce this, but I will show it to you. It starts with a B. Bhavanashari? Something like that? Bhavanashari? 107. So it's a deity. Okay. I've never pulled this card out of here. I love when, that's why I love doing readings, because you like see aspects of things that you've never seen before. So this was reversed. Oh my god, this is so us right now. So reversed, it says, create space between your breaths and between your thoughts. Life can get a little too crowded, and Varsi, I cannot pronounce this, is asking you to make space for your highest self to shine through. Notice your breath and its rhythm. Slow down each breath until you can feel the pause between inhale and exhale. Continue breathing deeply until it almost feels like you aren't breathing. The spaces have become longer and the breaths faint. This is how you experience the advanced state of meditation. That's so beautiful. See, like, I was telling everyone at all the other readings, I'm like, sometimes the spell deck can get like really real and kind of like it triggered me the first time I used it. I was like, ah. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, I really needed this deck. It like really triggered me, because like triggers are where the light comes in, right? So now for us, we know that this month our theme is to be the gentle observer, so we can have that strength and that ability to uplift that a mountain has, right? And then at the same time, we need to really be creating space between our breaths, our thoughts, and like really setting in a meditation practice that is conducive of these things, right? Because we all know that it's a fast-paced world, super fast-paced. So hopefully Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, you guys really resonate with this message. Thank you so much for watching with me. I hope that this is like an amazing catalyst for your growth and your spiritual journey for 2020. If you'd like to get to know me better, I'll leave my website and how to work with me down below. I do Reiki, readings, and coaching, so whatever you're down for. And then if you'd just like to check out some of my older blogs or whatever, I will leave that below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want to. Leave comments below on like what came to you during this. If you resonated, if you didn't, like whatever, like let's create a community here. That's really what I want to do on YouTube, and hopefully this is helpful for you. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys next month for February's 2020's reading.